So let's do this particular meditation lying down to start the yoga session. So being conscious of your present surroundings, sounds inside and outside the room. And as you relax, feel as though your body's getting a bit heavier. And let the sounds just fade into the background as you relax. And then in your mind's eye, can you picture a wall clock with a slowly swinging pendulum? And imagine your own face as being the face of the clock. And your trunk as being the body of the clock. And now be aware of your breathing. Slowly breathing in and slowly breathing out. Attuning your own breathing to the ticking of the clock. Nice and slow in, nice and slow out. Now in the area of your solar plexus, visualize the spring of the clock, which has been wound up very tightly. And let's be aware of any feelings of tension or stiffness in the body, which may have accumulated during the day. And let's be aware of any anxious or troubled thoughts, which may be occupying your mind and contributing to the tension in your body. And slowly begin to just work with your breathing. And imagine the tight spring in your solar plexus, gradually, gradually, gradually loosening. Let's imagine that spring unwinding. Slowly, slowly slackening. So that spring is gently, gently slackening. Right in your solar plexus. See if you can imagine it. And as it slowly, slowly slackens, let's be aware of the lessening of tension and stiffness in your body, as though all those areas, the stiff muscles, anything that's wound up or tight, is just letting go. And your neck and your shoulders, let them melt and relax and feel heavy. And let your heartbeat just be slow and regular. And let your mind be calm and peaceful. And if your mind is jumping around with this thought and that thought, imagine it like a stormy lake. And let's dive below the waters into the quietness below. Still allowing the storm above. Just going a little bit deeper. And let's see if we can allow the whole area of your solar plexus to feel soft and warm and relaxed. Just letting go. Scan around the body and see if there's any area that's still feeling tight. And let it soften and drop away and feel relaxed. And then slowly, slowly bringing back your awareness to here and now, to the space you're in. Sounds near and sounds far. If you're in a room, inside a room and outside a room. And breathe a little bit more deeply. Coming back into this present moment awareness. And then just scanning body, mind and emotions. How are you now in this moment? So as you lie there, I'll just explain what I'm hoping that we'll do this evening. What I'd like to do is I'd like to do a practice that produces a great deal of lightness in the system, in the body and the mind and emotions. So none of that heavy dragging kind of feeling, and which also increases energy. So we call it a Brahmana style practice, equalizing the breath in and out and kind of working expansively with that breath. So that's where we're headed, and we'll take it nice and slow. And we'll see if we can fit any extra little things in with that. So as you're lying there, I'd like you to bring your legs into parallel and point the toes away from you. And then I'd like you to raise your hands above your head and behind you onto the floor. And then I'd like you to stretch the left sides, pointing the toes and stretching the left arm. And then the right side. Okay, good. And then both sides together. Lovely. And then from there, on that stretch, I'd like you to bend both knees up to the chest and pull in, and then pull in tight against the belly area and rock a little from side to side. lowering the tailbone down towards the ground. And then hands on knees, just do the circles. And then circles the other way. Good, and then hands behind the head. And I'd like you to do the pushing with the heels about an inch above your mat as you push the feet away. It's a piston action with the legs. And see if you can consciously engage your belly muscles as you do that. Okay, and then placing the feet on the floor, slightly wider than usual, out to the sides of your mat maybe, and then bring your knees in together. Relax. Okay, and then stretch the legs straight up to the ceiling or to the sky, and placing the hands behind the thighs, just bring those legs towards and over the head a little if you can. You might find the hamstrings are a bit tight, so you can rub up and down the backs of the legs. Okay, and if you can reach your toes, that feels comfortable, still keeping the tailbone a little bit down towards the ground. Just encourage the legs to straighten out a little if it's comfortable. If you've been having lower back pain, don't actually bring the legs too much over the head, because it could be because your discs, lower discs are bulging, and this could make them bulge even further if they're a bit weak. So not advised if your lower back is doing that. Okay, and then I'd like you to bring your chin up onto your chest and lift your head up from the floor. But relax your shoulders down. Good. And then slide your hands down your legs behind your thighs. Okay. And then bend the knees, slip your hands onto the front of the knees, push to roll over so that you can come up. Okay, so that you're sitting comfortably. Taking it nice and slow, no rush. So, lovely. And from there, what I'd like us to do is, first of all, I'd just like us to center. So we did that meditation and just comfortably sitting. You might need something to sit on, small cushion being underneath your tailbone. And we're just going to do a little bit of twisting practice in this pose. So we've moved comfortable seated position, legs straight out in front of you, easy cross-legged pose, lotus position if anybody wants to do it. That's up to you. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take your right hand and move it round the back behind you, maybe hanging onto the cushion behind you. Take your left hand over towards your right knee, and then twist into the pose on the out breath. On the in breath, lengthening up from the crown, twist a bit further on the out breath. So the reason I thought we'd start with a twisting position, quite a strong one, is I suspect there's been a lot of tension building up around the neck and the shoulders, maybe even the spine stiffened up a little. So we're just beginning to get it moving. Breathing in, lengthening up from the crown. Breathing out, relaxing the shoulders and twisting around a little bit more. And you can feel that it's really helpful to you. It's that point where you really do feel like you're wringing out a sponge as you twist around. And taking the head round as well. Okay, we'll just stay in it a few more breaths. For a moment, just let this moment be this moment. Here and now. And then breathing out, coming round to the front. And if you did have one foot in front of the other, you can now swap over with the feet. Okay. And then raise your right hand and take it over to your left knee. Your left hand goes round the back. And what we're trying to do is we're trying not to take the spine out of that vertical position. We want to have the spine exactly on that vertical position. So holding on behind you, either fingertips on the floor or holding on to a block that you're sitting on. Breathing in, lengthen up. And breathing out, we're going round again. Lovely wringing out twist around the abdominal area. Breathe in, lengthen up. And breathe out, further round. And each time you breathe in, conscious of the crown of the head lifting to the heavens, that nice long upward stretch in the spine. And each time we breathe out, the shoulders, the head, the neck, rib cage twist round a little bit more. And if you feel tension anywhere, especially the neck, shoulder area, relax the shoulders some more downwards. Lift the crown of the head upwards some more. Keep the chin slightly down so you've got a nice long open back of the neck. Lovely. And then breathing out, come back to the front. So what I'd like you to do next is I'd like you to be aware of this shoulder area here and bring the hands up to the shoulder area. So you're actually going to knead around the neck shoulder area with your fingers, going in and finding any area which feels a little bit iffy. And imagine that you've just paid, I don't know, £100 for a neck and shoulder massage. These are the fingers you've paid for. Let go into them, let them search around and explore and ease tension in there. Okay, then magic fingers that know exactly where the tension is hiding. And if you find a particular point, you can bring both hands to that point, one after the other, relaxing. And I'm always amazed how just a little bit of soft massage here into the shoulders can make a difference. You can also rotate your shoulder joint at the same time, up and round and back and forward and up and round and back and forward. Okay, so do that a little both sides as well. Good. And then bring the hands together at the front in Namaste. Breathe in, take the arms up. And breathe out, take the arms out to the sides. Okay, hopefully fairly level. And then dropping the shoulders. Okay. And then we're going to do the slight tilt from side to side. And I want you to do this, letting the head follow. Okay. Stay. Imagine if we were standing on a boat that was rocking from side to side. There we go. And then release and hold the hands behind you and pull them up. So sideways on, it looks like this. You're pulling them up, up, up. And you can lean forward as you do that. Okay. And either clasping the hands or clutching, one hand clutching the fingers of the other hand. And then release down and come up to the front and push the hands away. Slightly upwards, away with the palms facing out. Drop the shoulders, crown of the head lifting upwards. And then breathe out. Clasp again, but a different way. If you're in familiar clasp, watch the fingers down to more unfamiliar. And then again, lean forward a little, lift the arms up. And this time I'd like you to take the arms behind you to the right, and then to the left, and to the right, and to the left. Lovely. And then shake out the arms. Okay, take the arms up, shake out at the top, shake out at the sides, shake out at the bottom. Lovely. So, removing the cushion, if you have a cushion to sit on, just pushing it to the side for a moment. What I'd like you to do next is I'd like you to lie on one side. So the reclining position. One of my favorite ones. So if you look down the legs, your legs are actually stacked one leg on top of the other. So it's not like your hips are leaning back and one leg is out of sync, but you're actually leaning on the side of your underneath leg and your other leg is on top. And hopefully, nice straight line down your spine, down your legs, along the mat. Hopefully. And then I'd like you to bend the knees and bring them forward. And then I'd like you to reach through to your right big toe. And then I'd like you to straighten that leg. Okay. Now, that left leg, left knee's bent, that's actually for balance. And if that feels good, it can stay there. But if you feel you could stretch it out and you wouldn't fall over backwards or forwards, you can straighten it out too. Or you can have it forwards. Okay. And if you have a belt around and you want to, you could wrap the belt around your foot and hold that foot and pull it more towards you with the belt. Okay. Okay. And then you can also hold behind the knees and point the toe. And normally we have the toes coming down, we're stretching the Achilles tendon at the back, and now we're pointing the toes. We're bringing that leg further over. So go back to toes to base and toes to pointy. Nice rhythmic breathing. Lovely. And then release that leg down. Straighten out, going back into the initial pose. The initial pose, you can have your palm resting on the thigh, or you can have your palm resting, top palm resting in front of you. The underneath arm is just the elbows bent, comfortably lying on your side. Okay, and then you know what's going to happen next. We're going to do the other side. So bend the knees and swing round. Okay, so swinging round so that you can be on the other side. You're on one side and then you switched to the other side. We've got enough room. So we know what we're going to do, but first of all, we're lying with one leg straight on top of the other. Comfortably rest your underneath arm. You're on the side of your hip. Try not to roll back onto the buttock muscles if you can. And pausing there for a moment. Okay. And then bend both knees forward and straighten up the left leg. So holding on to your left toe if you can, and bringing that leg either straight up or even further over towards your head. Breathing into that. And depending on what feels comfortable, you can have the underneath leg still out straight on its side, or if that makes you feel wobbly, you can bend it again for stability. Okay. So first of all, we're just holding onto the big toe, or you could have a belt that you're holding around it, or you could hold on behind the knee. You might have extremely long legs and short arms, so you might need a belt. And then point the toe and still continue bringing that leg over. And the toe is now pointing, so you're stretching the top of the foot. And then bring the toes down towards the head again. Lovely. Okay, breathing into that. And you can hold on lower in the thigh if you wish, if you feel that would be helpful. And see if we can keep an equal breathing in. And we count of 4, and an equal breathing out, count of 4. The same amount of time on this side as the other side. Point the toes again. Okay, and then breathing out. Bring that leg down, bend both knees for a moment. Nice and steady, and straighten them out. Resting comfortably on your side. Then the good news is that you can lie down on your tummy. So I'm not sure whether to do this facing you or side onto you. I might start facing you. Okay, so you're lying down. You're doing, in fact, the reverse corpse pose. So forehead on the floor. And then normally in corpse pose, we have the feet a little bit, 2 feet or so apart. So you can do that. Just resting for a moment, forehead on the floor. Hands are palms upwards. And then swing the arms round to the front. So in front of your head. Palms downward. Stretch them away from you. And now bring the legs parallel, or toes pointing away from you. Long stretch. Keep stretching into that if you can. Okay. And then I'd like you to lift the head up, swing the arms round, as though we're doing flying locust. So the hands are still palms downwards. Drop the shoulders, they tend to want to start meeting the ears again. Feet are up. Breathing into that. Draw the arms now as much behind you as you can, still in the position. Going to come down in stages, breathe out a little, come down a little, breathe out a little bit more, come down a little, until eventually you can cross your forearms and rest the side of your head on your hands, relaxing, letting go. Surprisingly tiring, that one. And we're going to do that one more time. While you lie here, choose whether you wish to go into fully reversed corpse pose, forehead on the floor, and hands by the sides while you rest, or whether you want to stay in that position with your side of your head on your hands. And kind of letting go of the body completely. And then visualizing what we're about to do. So breathing in, the hands sweep round, palms downwards on the floor beyond your head. The legs go to parallel, with the toes. Breathe in, come up. Look up. And then breathe out. Swing the hands back as far as they will go. They're about 6 inches off the floor. Hopefully the feet are up off the floor. Keep taking the arms back. Move the shoulders down towards your waist if you can. Breathing into that. Raising chest and legs as much as you can as you draw the arms behind you. This is a variation of Adaptations. And it's quite tiring. Okay, releasing down. Choose what you wish to do. You could put forehead to floor, forehead onto hands. Letting go completely for a moment. Okay, so coming up into the Sphinx for a moment. Looking forward, pulling the crown of the head upwards. The elbows are underneath your shoulders. Chin down slightly. Pressing lower belly against the floor. And lifting the crown of the head upwards some more. So just pausing in the Sphinx. And in the Sphinx, you can see what I'm about to do. I'm going to demonstrate it sideways on. So staying in the Sphinx for a moment. We're going to do an up and down dog, downward facing dog, up, down, through the inclined plane, which is very good for arm strength, building arm strength. And into the four-limbed pose where we have the toes and the hands on the ground. Okay, and then back into the rabbit pose, or the extended swan. Okay, so staying in the Sphinx. So if you can see me, hopefully you're looking at your screen. And it's going to look like this. I just want to give you a warning of it because it's quite a lot to do and we'll be moving through it on the breath. So we start off in this full rabbit pose. Okay. And then I want you to tuck the toes under and go into downward facing dog. And then I want you to come through into the plank. Into the plank, upright plank, and then down into the four-limb pose, up into the hanging cobra, and back into the extended rabbit or swan pose. Okay, so let's do that. So you might want your kneeling pads if you're on a hard floor, always useful to protect. You might want to take off a layer because you're going to get quite warm doing this. But keep that layer near you if you're going to need it. And you might need to check whether you've got, I need to check whether you've got hair. Yes, I do. If you have long hair, you might need to keep it out of the way. So, so kneeling comfortably with the knees on your knee pad. And to start off, what we do is we stretch upwards to elongate the spine. And then we breathe out, lifting the rib cage up and over the knees and down, falling into the floor. And then walk those fingertips away from you and go into nice, steady breathing. Tail going down towards the heels. Shoulders open but downwards towards the floor, as though you're trying to touch the floor with your armpits, really. Okay. Really nice wide shoulder blades. Wide as wide can be. And breathing into that nice and evenly. And then just think about it. We're going into downward facing dog, so your feet will need to come back, hip joint width apart. Okay, tuck the toes under. Push through the hands, the palm of the hand, and come up into that lovely downward facing dog. Okay. Feel the stretch at the backs of the legs. They might not have been stretched like that for a while. And you can do the walking movement. Feel how the calf muscle, it always wants to tighten up. And we're just encouraging it to stretch open. And eventually feeling that we can really take the tailbone up into the air. Tuck the chin in. Point the crown of the head towards the fingers. Opening the back of the neck. Open out the shoulder blades. Breathing into that. And remember, if you feel that you're going to shift or it's hurting on your wrists, you can tuck your yoga mat under the ball of your foot, the heel of your hand. Okay. And then breathing in, I'd like you to come forward into that inclined plank, okay, which can feel hard work, but hopefully you lower your pelvis down, so you're straight line from your ankles towards your head. And you've got fairly even pressure around the palm of the hands and fingertips. And then, if this feels too much, you can put your knees on the floor. But you come down to just the fingers and the hands on the floor. But if it feels too much, you can relax the whole body. Keep your elbows tucked in. Okay, so it would look like downward facing dog to plank to hanging to up into cobra. Okay, and then breathing out, go back into downward facing dog, drop the knees and into swan. And then we're going to do that without so much hanging around. Mainly so that we can get the four-limbed pose and the torso off the ground cobra, because we have to do it with breath. So let's start again. Breathe in, hands up to the heavens. Breathe out, down. Lift the rib cage up, away from your belly, and then over your thighs, stretch the arms out. Breathe out. Breathe in. Get the hands and feet in position about hip joint width apart. And into downward facing dog. Okay. And then breathing in, plank. Breathing out, four-limbed pose. And breathe in, hanging cobra. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Breathe in, knees to the floor. Breathe out, back to the rabbit. Breathe into that. Okay, and again, so stretch the arms out in front of you. Elbow down towards the floor. Open out the shoulder blades. Breathing in, coming up, tucking the toes under, into downward facing dog. Breathing out. Breathing in into the plank. I pause, it's simply because I've lost my quads. Breathing out, down into full limb pose and then up into the cobra. And you can do this with your body on the floor. Breathing out back to dog. Breathe in, coming forward. Breathe out, knees to the floor. Breathe out, down into the rabbit. And we're going to do that one last time. Hopefully I don't lose my AirPods off with you. So, breathe in, coming up. Pushing up into the downward facing dog. Breathe out, fully into downward facing dog. Breathe in, plank position. Breathe out, full-limbed pose or resting. Breathe in, hanging cobra. Breathe out, knees on the floor, forehead to floor, arms stretching up. Breathe in, table pose. Breathe out, cobra. Breathe in, plank pose. Breathe out, down, full limb pose, and then up into cobra. Breathing in, breathe out. You can either do another downward facing dog or just go straight into knees on the mat and down into long extended rabbit pose. Last time. Breathing in, it's sort of interim table. Breathe out, pushing back into downward facing dog. Breathe in, plank. Breathe out, full limb pose. Breathe in, cobra. Breathe out, let's add an extra dog there. And then breathe in, knees to floor. Breathe out, down, forward to floor. Just breathing into that. Slide the hands back, the ankles, palms upwards. Allow the shoulders to relax down to the floor, open out the shoulder blades. Breathe, 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 breathe. So the palms of your hands might feel like they've been under strain because they've actually had all the body weight going through them. So while you rest in the child pose, you can use your fingers to curl over towards the palms to kind of massage the heel and the fleshy part of the palm that you can reach. Do that just for a little bit. And then open the fingers out wide, stretching the palm. And wriggle the fingers. They're stretched out wide and long. Kind of just moving through the fingers. Okay, and then relax the back of the hands before. Should help. And then place the hands onto the floor, pushing, coming up. Okay. so that you're in a kneeling pose, if that's comfortable to you. But as you know, I always recommend having a kneeling pad if you've got it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the 5-gate pose. It's called Parigasana. And you come up to standing kneeling. Okay. Hands drop by the sides. Shoulders drop and the head lifts upwards. Okay, nothing to do from chin a little. Okay, good. And then it's the left leg we're going to start with. So I'd like you to extend your left leg. And breathe in, take the arms up to shoulder level. And then breathing out. Oh no, let's actually pause there for a moment. I'm not entirely sure you're fully stretched. So breathe in, lift through the crown of the head. And breathe out, lift the rib cage up and over onto that left side with the right arm going up. So you end up not only over like so, but you start to point the palm downwards towards the floor and go over even further, like you would in a triangle, an extended triangle. So really stretching into that. Okay. And it's a 5-bar gait because you've got 2 legs, 2 arms and a torso. And it's that top arm, see if you could just bring it back so it's over the head, so it's not coming forward at all. So breathe into it. Nice, steady, even breaths if you can do it. And we're really trying to stretch that right side as much as possible. Right through. And breathing in, take the arm up to the heavens, right hand. And then slide your left hand up the hip to your knee. And the arm follows around to even shoulder height. Arm stretch. And then breathing out, coming down. Okay, just relax the hands for a moment and go to kneeling. Felicity, if you come to be a yoga star, we're going to do some cat stretches. Just going to do some more yoga poses. So, of course, we need to do it on the other side. So go back up to kneeling. And then take the leg out, right leg out to the side. Just doing the other side. Breathe in, arms up, parallel to the floor. Breathe out, shoulders. Breathe in, lengthen the crown of the head. Let the rib cage lift a bit too. And then breathing out, we're going over the right hand side. So right hand slides down the leg. We're very much side on. So don't tilt this left part of the body forward. Okay. So the left arm goes up, straight up first of all, stretches, lengthens. And then the palm starts to go over, arm towards the floor. And down you go. So everything's side on. Nice long left side stretch. And little tricks to deepen this pose is to just watch that left shoulder at the moment. It's probably wanting to come towards your nose. Keep it back. And lower that right hand a bit more down the leg if you can. And keep the chest area open in case it's wanting to collapse in on itself. And then nice regular breathing. And there's a feeling of pushing that left hip away from you. And I don't know whether you find this slightly easier than doing the triangle over into this pose, but actually, usually the legs feel a little bit more rested in the 5-gate pose, but you're still getting that tremendously beneficial side stretch. Okay, and then bring the arm up and come up. Arms parallel. Breathe out and down. Back to kneeling, just upright kneeling as you shake the arms out. Well done. Lovely. And really shake, especially around the wrists. Poor wrists, they're working hard this evening. Okay. And imagine that we're just releasing all tension, aches and pains through wrists, fingers, hands, elbows, shoulders, neck, all the way down and out through the tips of the fingers, deep into the earth. The earth, which is healing, is just absorbing all that and neutralizing it. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to come down to sitting on our heels. If that's uncomfortable, of course, put a block on your heels so you sit on the block, or even tuck your toes underneath and sit on your heels higher up. Okay. But bring the hands round the back and clasp them in the familiar clasp. So chin down, crown of the head upwards. Okay. So easy kneeling pose. The head lifting. And then I'd like you to look down at the floor. We're going to place forehead on the floor. But we're not going to collapse the abdomen to do that. We're going to lengthen up. Do it sideways on it, might be better. Lengthen up. And rib cage up and over past the knees. You imagine your lower rib cage past the knees and forehead to the floor. And bring the hands up. And then roll onto your head. Now, if you think, don't like it when I put my crown of the head on the floor, put a cushion underneath it, roll up onto the head. Okay, and take the arms up as high as they can go. And you can sort of grab hold of the fingers and lift the arms into the wall. So Yogasana. So you've got pressure going through the crown of the head. Hopefully the knees are underneath the hip joint. And technically, it's hard to do. The arms are coming up vertical. And then eventually you release the hands onto the lower back, down towards the floor, palms downwards. Push, come to upright kneeling. Place the hands into the lower back, lean back into a back bend. Okay, looking up to the ceiling. Breathing into that, opening the front throat area, opening the chest area. See where you can comfortably lower the hands onto the back, lower back, buttock area, just for support on the pelvis. And then if you feel like it, you can tuck the toes under and go back into an easy camel. And remember, you can always put blocks on your heels. Go back more carefully with the hands slightly higher up. Okay, pushing the pelvis forwards as you go back into the camel. Bring the shoulder blades together, lowering the head down and back. And then eventually using the neck muscles and neck strength to bring the chin to the chest. Bring your dominant hand forward to hold onto the belly and kind of push forward and push the belly back so that you come forward and do the counter pose, which is that long rabbit stretch. And you might feel that now in the back, lower back. It's posing, wonderfully beneficial and rejuvenating counter pose. Oh, so nice. Nice. Opening out the shoulder blades, dropping the shoulders to the floor, relaxing into it, much needed. Yes. So the good news is we completed that. Well, maybe not so good news is we're going to do it again with the unfamiliar class starting it. Okay, so push back with the hands. Okay, come up, upright kneeling. Unfamiliar clasp around the back. Okay, so familiar clasp first, and then notch the fingers into something that feels really weird and unfamiliar. Okay, open out the chest, look forward, lift the hands up, back, drop the shoulders, crown of the head lifting upwards. Okay, and then very strongly, think of your lower rib cage at the front. I want it to come up and forward and over. That's the knees, placing the head on the floor, and the arms go up into this yogasana. Arms going up vertical as much as possible. If your arms get tired, you can rest them on the lower back and then place them up vertical again, shoulder blades coming together. But eventually slide the hands down, legs towards the floor, palms downwards, push through the hands, coming up into upright kneeling, and place the hands into the lower back area, palm pushing against pelvis or lower back. Comfortably, and then push the pelvis forward and go into the back arch with the chin going up to the heavens. And if you wish, you can stay there, or if you wish, you can go into camel pose, Ustrasana, pushing the pelvis forward. And to come out of that, chin to chest, dominant hand to belly, pressing forward. Over you go into the downward facing rabbit, stretching out, or the swan stretch. Relaxing into it, opening out shoulder blades. Nice even breathing in and out. In breath, same length as the out breath. We'll just stay there for a moment, because that was hard work. Opening out the shoulder blades if you can. Bring the shoulders down to the floor. Okay. And then breathing in, sliding the arms towards and past the head, back the knees, pushing and coming up. Okay. And then pausing there for a moment, kneeling. Time, we've done about an hour. It's because we started late. Okay, breathing into that. Just got a little bit more to do. So, I don't know whether you will like what I'm about to do next, whether you'll think, oh, crikey. But it's the balanced straight arm pose, it's the Shisthasana, and I don't do it very often, it requires arm strength. So I'll just show you, and you can think, or you can think, I know how I'm going to adapt that. How I would adapt it actually is I'll do it from kneeling. So I'm going to show you the adapted side first. It's a bit like what we've done, which is just going out and over. But the full version is you start from plank position facing down. Then you turn onto your side and then you come up. Okay? Yes, I made that look so easy. So if you don't want to do that, you can just go up from kneeling over into the pose we were doing before. Or if you want to follow me, what we do is from upright, we come forward into downward facing plank pose. And then we turn, I'm turning onto my outside of my right foot. Up. And you probably find your underneath arm trembles a lot. So you won't be staying there too long. And then breathe out, down into that plank pose, knees to floor, rest. You can either rest forehead to floor or come back into kneeling. And then I want you to rotate those poor wrists and arms. You can even rub your hands together if you like. Okay. And then we're going to do it one more time and then we're not going to do it again. So let's rub the hands together. My hands were saying, oh, there's a lot of pressure through the hand that you were using, isn't it? So I'll just change position so I can do it on the other side. So again, back into downward facing plank. And now putting my weight through my left hand and up, and the right hand is going up to the heavens. Sideways on. I hope it's not just me who's finding it hard. I'm finding it very hard. Breathing out, coming down to plank, knees to floor, either resting with forehead to floor. Actually, that's probably a good idea. Rest forehead to floor. Then slide the hands right past the head, push and come up, pause. I don't want you coming up too suddenly because we're going up into standing. So pause in that upright kneeling. And then come up to standing. And in the mountain pose. So nice and steady. And I'll let the equilibrium come because we've moved dramatically into upright. The head lifting, hands hanging. And while we're standing here, I'd like you to put chin to chest. Drop the shoulders, shoulder blades a bit together, in fact. And then roll the chin over. Point it and rest it on the left shoulder. Roll the chin back to the center. Roll to the other side, to the right shoulder. Roll it back to center. Repeat. So to left, center, to right. Okay, and to center. Always best to come up out of something with the neck, chin down, back of the vertebra open, and then lift up. And then I just want you to do side to side, as though you're trying to put your ears down on your shoulder, dropping the shoulders as much as possible. Imagine you've got very heavy bags, suitcases in fact, in both hands, and dropping down. Just going to go to neck vertebra, loosen that a bit. Okay, and then I want you to breathe in, take the arms up, arms facing each other. And we're going to go into Utkatasana, so it's the fierce pose. So bend, the feet are hip joint width apart, bend down, the arms come down more or less in line with the leg, knee to ankle, you look up. And hopefully the thighs are parallel to each other. You can lift, engage Mula Bandha if you like, the base lock. Breathing into that. But try not to go down too deep. Okay, just comfortably so. And look down at your knees. Okay. And if your knees are going past your toes, probably not a good idea. You need to sit back more and bring your knees back a little, so not going past the toes and put too much strain on the front knee joint. Okay, arms more upright, sitting back on an imaginary high stool. Eyes will be engaging rather a lot. And then breathe in, straighten up, and breathe out, come down, shake out arms and legs. Okay, you do some backstroke as well, and forward. Nothing, okay. And then standing back in the mountain, we're just going to do a balanced pose. So place all the weight now into your left foot. Bring the right foot bent behind you. Okay, so if I'm doing it side on, looks like this. Right foot behind you, the left hand up, looking straight ahead. Okay, so it's quite a strong balance pose. If you feel like you're wobbling, I recommend taking the arm that's spare out to the side to give you more stability. If you can put it straight up, that would be great too. But you can move between the two, out to the sides, upright, out to the side. Okay, and then release the foot, release the arm, shake out. Well done, everybody. That's good. And then turn and face the other way. Okay, and then we're doing all the weight going into the right foot. Lift up the left foot, bending the left knee, looking straight ahead. And if you can, take the right arm straight up to the heavens and really bringing that left foot up. Up, 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 so it touches onto the buttock. And again, you can put the arm out horizontal or vertical, depending on how wobbly you feel. It's quite nice to breathe in, the arm goes up. Breathe out, arm horizontal, breathe in, arm up, breathe out, arm horizontal. And eventually lower the leg below the arms and shake out. Straighten out, take the legs out wide, take the feet to 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Okay, breathe in, arms horizontal again. Breathe out, down to the left, look up. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out, down to the right, look up. Breathe in and come up. And keep going, okay? So on coming down, you're breathing out. You breathe in as you come up. Breathe out as you go down and over. Breathe in, come up. So trying to keep the breaths even length. Breathing through the nose if you can. Okay, and then the next one to the left, we're going to stay down. 2 breaths. Extenuate, accentuate that long stretch on the right side. Keep that top right shoulder back. Okay, lovely. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out, other side, stay down. Increase the stretch as much as you can. Nice even breaths. Left shoulder back. Okay, breathe in, come up. Breathe out, down. Release the arms. Go with a jiggle. Just go into star for the moment. Arms facing forward, radiating 6 limbs, including elbow, radiating from the solar plexus, shoulders down, probably back a little. Okay, to come out of it, palms upwards to the heavens. Breathe in, palms together above the head, stretch up. Stretch the fingertips to the ceiling. Breathe out to the heart. Breathe in, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. In. Breathe out. Relax. Back into the mountain. Close the eyes for a moment. Body might be tingling in one of them, which is good. That's fine. Pumping around the body. Let that happen. Okay. So I don't know whether you can feel it, but I've actually increased the energy in the body by doing that sequence. So not so that you're kind of hyper and like if you drunk 8 shots of coffee or something, but just you could actually go out, stride down the street, and go for a little jog if you wanted to. The body is able to do things. It feels like it has energy. So if you do want to go out for a run, you could possibly end the session here. But if, like me, you have no intention at the moment of going out for a run late in the evening, you can come down to comfortable seated. You can sit on a chair or you can sit on blocks or cushions. We're just going to do calming down Nadi Sadhana, the alternate nostril breathing, so that we still have energy in the system, but we're not buzzing too much at this time, if it's an evening practice for you. So comfortably sitting. And Nadi Sadhana is the alternate nostril breathing. I happen to like it very much. And we do it by using the ring finger. Okay, ring finger. The thumb. And they create a pincer action. Okay, like so. The middle finger and the index finger can either be straight up, and you can rest those on your forehead. And the thumb can rest on the nostril, and the ring finger on the other nostril, like so. Or if you want, some people like to just sort of tuck them in. Tucked in like so. So I use my dominant hand, I'm right-handed. Another thing that makes it easier is if you rest your other on your left arm. If you have a belly, you can rest it on your belly, and your dominant elbow will just rest into that hand comfortably. So there's no strain going on, particularly through the arms. They're comfortably supported. And then let's do the pincer action. So let's put the thumb to the nostril, close it on that side and breathe out. Breathe in. And then when you breathe out, swap nostrils. So close in with the ring finger. Breathe in. And when you're breathing out, you swap nostrils. So it's always out, in on the same side. And when you breathe out, you swap to the other side, out, in. Swap for out, in. And keep going. Just remember to swap when you're about to breathe out. The chin can come down a little. Breathe at your own rhythm. Don't have to do any special sort of breathing. Breathe in, as it breathe out. And let the breath breathe in. You lose track of what you're doing, just remember on the out breath you're switching to the other nostril. Breathing in on that same side. And breathe out, you swap nostrils. See if you can actually enjoy alternate nostril breathing. Designed to be soothing. It can be difficult if you've got a blocked nose or one of your nostrils is a bit blocked. It's useful to have a tissue nearby so you can blow your nose. Just start again, if that helps. And it's recommended that you do it for a minimum of 3 minutes. Okay. And when you're ready, just releasing from that breathing exercises and have a think where you might put your socks and your sweater and make yourself comfortable for the final relaxation. And you have 2 choices here. So you can go into the Shavasana that we were in at the beginning, or maybe you'd like to put your legs up on something, either up the wall or with bent knees resting on the sofa or a chair. You choose, have a think about what you'd like to do. And remember, because it's on Zoom, obviously you don't have to come out at the end. I might close the session, but you might stay relaxing for as long as you like. So just make yourself comfortable. Blanket underneath you, blanket on top of you, cozy warm. If you can, I would turn off a light if it's staring down at you. And if you have a eye pillow, that's also a good idea. Making the room a little bit darker, if that's comfortable. Okay, so making sure you're comfortably rested. One of the most important things is to see if you are scrunching up the back of the neck at all. Just open that out. And technically, the final relaxation, if you scan the body and you scan what's going on around you physically, there's no drafts or anything, you're in the most comfortable position, hopefully. You know, you feel as snug, warm, relaxed, as happy as can be in that pose. And if at any stage it starts to feel uncomfortable, I would say adjust, move onto your side if you need to, come up if you need to. But there's very much a sense at the end of the yoga class of taking really good care of yourself, making yourself comfy, 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 being kind to yourself. And then let the breathing just quieten down, let the body be breathed. And check again that your shoulders and the top of your back haven't crept up towards your ears. Just move them down a bit. Arms are upwards if you're in Shavasana. Breathing into it. Okay, so let's start with the head. Just imagine the head is very heavy. The chin is towards the chest. Back of the neck is nice and long. When we let that heavy 6 to 8 pounds of the head sink into the earth, as though the earth is really squidgy. We let the weight of the head just sink down. A deep impression on the earth. Let it go. And then we do the same with the shoulders. Let them become very, very heavy. And let them drop down deep into the earth. And then let left and right arm, always the fingertips, become immensely heavy. And just let them drop away completely. And then let's move to the left and right, the legs, and then drop them all the way from your pelvis, your waist in fact, the toes. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Let them drop away. Don't hold your feet in any position, let the toes relax. Whole foot relax. And then the torso itself, deep into the earth. And you can almost imagine that all the soft tissue and internal organs are just dropping away downwards as well. And then let's turn to the face and let the jaw relax. It means your mouth might open a little. If possible, try to keep breathing through the nose. You can always close the gap of the mouth, the tongue behind the upper teeth, slightly touching. And then let the cheeks sort of drop downwards and away. Even the eyeballs in the sockets drop back and away downwards. And the forehead simply bounce. And then we're going to imagine, if you like, an elixir of health, rejuvenation and vitality. First of all, pouring onto the forehead and spreading over the face and the scalp, melting away any tension, any impurity in any cell in the body, any stress or strain in the mind. And then magically at the same time, an elixir pours onto the heart center, spreading over the chest, over the entire torso. And then magically an elixir is pouring onto both shoulders, down both arms. And then onto the hips and down both legs. And it's warm and it's soothing. And it contains all this deep healing, rejuvenation, vitality, equilibrium, poise, balance. And rest in that for a few minutes. And if there's any part of the body that feels that it still needs extra attention, you can imagine that the elixir intensifies and falls over that part of the body. And if you scan around the body, you can probably pick up the awareness that it's beginning to go into deep rest. And that's so wonderful and so healing and so gorgeous, really, for all levels of our being. But I'd be very hesitant to move you out of that. Just enjoy. Allow it to soak into every atom, every cell, every fibre of your being, into your mind, your emotional level, opening your heart. Just lovely. And even though I'm going to end the session and say goodbye, I don't want anybody to particularly move out of this pose unless you've got urgently to do something else. I'd stay in it. It's too good for you to suddenly stop. Okay? So thank you. I've hoped you enjoyed and are enjoying your practice.